So everybody knows your name but me.
Mark Henning, I'm the architect.
Mark Henning?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I didn't want to say Jeremy's here because he's on vacation. He said.
Well, he's supposed to. Oh, he's not back yet.
Okay, we ready to go? Ready to go, sir?
I am, absolutely.
Okay.
Am I the only person on the docket, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir.
We had one prior.
We had one prior.
Okay, I
Yeah.
hope that took 40 minutes or?
Just about.
30.
Okay, so it wasn't too bad. I
Not
don't
too
feel
bad.
as guilty now.
This meeting of the Walton Hills Zoning Board of Appeals will come to order. Today is Wednesday, September 30th. The time is 6:51. And as you know, the way we're having meetings because of COVID-19, we're having YouTube, we're having teleconference. We could have numerous ways of doing it, but we can only allow 10 people total to come to the Village Hall currently.
Yes, sir.
And if there are any other people that are attending on YouTube and they want to ask questions, we'll get those out during this meeting. There's a possibility we may have some questions.
Not a problem.
And we haven't received any emails or letters from any residents or businesses. And the other thing I wanted to bring up to you is we normally have one more person on the zoning board, and he retired last week. So hopefully it's okay if we have 4 people. We're shy one person. Is it okay if we continue the hearing with 4? Okay,
Yes, sir.
great. The hearing is for HGE. Mark Henning is representing HGE. The location of the business is 7160 West Creek Road in Walton Hills. And Mark is asking for a variance at the business site to construct an accessory building enclosing the concrete making conveyor system and appealing the village codified ordinance 127005 subsection B under the height regulations, correct?
Yes, sir.
Let's see, Mr. Secretary, would you like to review the data for this hearing?
This hearing pertains to the appeal of Jeremy Ennis, HGE Concrete, 7160 Creek Road, Walton Hills, Ohio. Rob Coleman, Street Commissioner, Building Inspector, in correspondence dated September 14th, 2020 to Paul Rich and Board of Zoning Appeal members, addressed a proposed enclosure submitted by HGE Concrete. The Walton Hills Planning Commission received new plans on September 9th, 2020. The applicant stated that it was their belief that the proposed structure was not a building but a mechanical appurtenance. Is that how you pronounce it? Appurtenance. Appurtenance, okay. Long U, okay. Appurtenance. The applicant was informed that a height variance would be required. Plans were received September 11th, 2020 and marked not approved on 9/14/2020, indicating that it was not in compliance with codified ordinance 1270.05B. The Village of Walton Hills received a hearing application dated 9/11/2020 on September 11th, 2020. Decision being appealed, codified ordinance 1270.05B. Notification of the Wednesday, September 30, 2020 at 6 p.m. hearing via YouTube was mailed to 19 residents, interested parties. Due to the COVID-19 stay-at-home order, this hearing will be on YouTube. On-site inspections conducted by Ms. Workman on 9/25/2020, Mr. Rich on 9/25/2020, and Mr. Pollock on 9/18/2020.
Mr. Secretary, would you please read 127005 subsection B?
Okay, 127005 establishes height regulations. Specifically, 127005B states, accessory buildings shall not exceed a height of 18 feet.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Since, Mr. Henning, you're the only person that's going to testify, could you please sign the witness sheet?
Yes.
And Ms. Workman will swear you in.
Okay.
Well, they don't usually have that many witnesses.
Usually these meetings are packed. You kinda got lucky with the COVID now. Yes, sir. Anything else?
Yes, please raise your right hand and I will give you the oath.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony given or statements made at this hearing are to the best of your knowledge truthful and factual, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Ms. Workman. Mr. Henning,
Thank you.
you have the floor. Would you kindly tell us why you want this variance?
So we have a piece of equipment, as you can see by visiting the site. The way the concrete processing system works is the material is loaded onto onto a conveyor system. It's a radial arm that swings back and forth. It takes the material, dumps it into the various hoppers onto another conveyor, then takes it over into the concrete truck for processing from the other silo admixtures. So at this point in time, it is difficult to do winter concrete processing, you know, once the temperature starts dropping. So the intent is to really just build an enclosure, a non-occupied enclosure around the hoppers so that material can go in there. We're going to keep the inside of the enclosure around 45 to 50 degrees, again, just to keep the materials from you know, again, coagulating and freezing, you know, so that they don't process well, you know, into the hopper and then into the truck or into the conveyor system. So really, it's practically just so that we can do winter construction. And that's really, again, if you looked on the site when you were out there, you know, you could see the radial arm. There's a certain height that was around 26, 27 feet. And then we have structure above that, of course. We're asking to go around 30 feet for our maximum height on one end, 23 feet on the other side. It'll just be a shed roof. Very simple structure, again, just to enclose the hoppers primarily.
Thank you. Since we do not have any proponents or opponents, do we have any questions out there from residents?
Not yet.
Not yet. So what we'll do is we just,
Sure.
the board will start asking a few
Absolutely.
questions of you.
Not a
and,
problem.
you know, first and foremost, we all have this
Yes, sir.
photo. Is this the most accurate, up-to-date
It is.
plan? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Those are the exterior elevations that you're holding up. Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Mr. Hennings, would
Yes.
this provide any benefit to the neighborhood?
Not necessarily, except that, again, HGE is going to be continuing doing business throughout the winter months, again, creating revenue again for its business and various employees that will remain employed in that respect over the winter time versus being laid off. So in that respect, could be yes in that respect.
Oh. Wouldn't it enclose some of the concrete making facility so that the dust and the noise might be muffled slightly?
It actually would be in that respect. You know, you would get a little bit of that attribute again to having that enclosure around there. Yes, there are dust collectors actually on site that are meant to do all of that and minimize any dust, of course. But again, anything that we can contain, of course, would have its own dust collecting system as well too.
Oh, so it would?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I'm looking at another codified ordinance. Okay. This is 127006C, and I just wondered as to why, was there a discussion on this particular? It says chimneys, flagpoles, water tanks, and other mechanical appurtenances
Appurtenances.
may be erected above such maximum height, but are limited to a height not exceeding 75 feet
Correct.
above finished grade. Was there any discussion as to why this was not brought into the picture?
We did bring it up at the planning meeting, and Mr. Kalman read his definition of what a building was, and they determined in their viewpoint it was a building, an accessory building, not a mechanical appurtenance, as we were hoping to be under that particular section that you cited. So then they did state that they
Oh, okay, so it
we would
was
come back. Yeah,
discussed.
so it was discussed, yes.
Well, just very briefly, I may add, I mean, it wasn't brought up until the meeting, and it was, they amended, originally the application was for a higher structure.
Uh-huh.
And so they
Yeah.
amended it that day, which we allowed
Yeah.
them to amend it without,
Okay.
you know, adjourning the
Yeah.
meeting. And that was the first time that issue had come up, so it was, you know, we had no discussions about whether or not it should be an accessory structure or not prior to the meeting. But Mr. Kalman made a ruling on the floor that he felt it was an accessory structure. So that's why we're here today.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
It's probably the safest call.
Sure.
And you
Mr.
say
Henning?
this would be essential in order that you can have winter
Processing.
processing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Henning, is this accessory building large enough where machinery other than the conveyor could get in and do
Only,
some?
only for the fact of maintenance. If something has to come out of there, we're putting overhead doors in there, so that, again, if they have to get equipment in there to pull things out, again, from a maintenance perspective, we're, allowing that a little bit of play in there, again, so that there's some movement available. So again, we did do some doors of that, trying to think of, again, how would they maintain this if something broke down or they had to replace a piece of equipment. So yes.
Do you see any fire hazard?
No, sir.
With this type of equipment?
No, not at all. Again, it's the equipment that's currently operating right now. It's just going to be enclosed, that's all.
Okay. Where are the safety features in that area to shut down the conveyor if they need to?
I mean, everything is viewed by cameras, again, within the building itself, and again, they observe everything, again, through their system that they have on the second floor overseeing the operation. So again, they would have assumed, again, have a camera system, that we didn't talk about that, but I've assumed they would have a camera system inside just to keep an eye on everything, sure.
So you don't see any issues with somebody, getting hurt and not being able to
No, sir, not
come
at
to their
all.
rescue, or because it's enclosed and no one can see it because you have cameras?
I would assume, again, we'll have that discussion with them, before we finish the drawings, but it's a good point.
Yeah.
But at this point, I mean, that is not an issue, because really no one's going to be in that building at all. I mean, it's a non-occupied building. It's not intended for that. So it's really just, again, to keep the space warm.
Okay, all right. I have no other questions. Any remarks from the neighbors?
No, not at this time. We did, in between meetings, the stream dropped out, so I'm waiting to see if there's more people that are attending. There's 2 currently watching.
Okay. Okay. We normally take a short recess, but I don't think there's a need to at this point, because I think we're going to just kind of go right into the vote.
Okay, sir?
If that's okay.
Absolutely.
I don't know, is there a motion regarding this matter, a motion to approve the variance?
Chairman.
Motion to approve the variance.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
So a motion's been made by Mr. Johansson to approve the variance. It was seconded by Ms. Workman.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
I
sir.
think we need to indicate that it's for an additional 12 foot above the maximum. Because the planning commission approved a 30-foot height,
Yes.
and I don't think we should leave it open-ended.
Okay.
Okay, I'd say not to exceed 30 feet.
Okay,
The
Mr.
12-foot variance to the 18-foot.
Okay, that sounds good, Mr. Pollack. What we'll do then, Mr. Johansson, would you please restate the request to vote on the motion for a variance of 12 feet to the current ordinance?
Proposed 30 feet, right.
Mhm.
Okay, I make a motion to make it 12 feet above the ordinance.
Okay. And Ms. Workman seconds.
Oh, I second the
You
motion.
second the motion? So the request is to vote on the motion with an additional 12 foot on the accessory building, which would make it 30 feet high.
Correct.
Vote on the motion. Mr. Johansson?
Yes.
Ms. Workman?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes.
Thank you all.
So the motion's been approved, and I guess you have to get a permit,
Yes, sir.
and once the permits come through, I believe it's up to Lisa Canzoni,
Yes.
and I can't honestly say if it's going to be approved tomorrow, or you'll have it tomorrow, or
And
it
we
may
were
take a
actually
couple
waiting for
days.
this final approval process, and now we have to finish the drawings for permit.
I will have the results of this hearing into Lisa tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see us turning in the drawings again for another week or so, because we still have
Probably in the
some.
afternoon.
Yes,
Okay, so-
I understand, sir.
But it will be done. It's,
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And again, I apologize for my tardiness.
No, that's okay.
I thought it started at 7. I apologize.
Thank you.
Okay, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
God bless all.
Have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Thank you. and thank you.
make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
A second.
Vote on the motion. Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Johansson?
Yes.
Ms. Workman?
Yes.
Mr. Rich votes yes. Hearing is adjourned at 7:06 PM. Thank you.